My name's Edwina and welcome back. We look at finance, we look at money, we look at the ways that people actually manipulate money to be able to get ahead of the game. Here, you're going to find as many tips as I can give you within my license to be able to help you actually get ahead as well. So let's dive in. Today, we're going to be looking at how is it that the rich get richer, and are they actually getting as rich as what you think they are getting? Well, it may be by a means that you don't necessarily think of. So let's dive in. We're going to use a real live case and we're going to dig into the numbers to actually see what is it that they're actually doing. So here we've got a lady who she earns a lot of money. She's worked really hard. She went to university. She's put all of her years into getting up the experience that she needs to actually be able to get ahead. So let's actually look at how much she's earning. So every month she's actually earning $22,916. That's the gross amount. From that amount, she then has to pay tax. Now, the tax in Australia is actually pretty high. So she's paying just over 41% in tax. So from that $22,916 that she receives from her employer, she's actually then paying out to the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office, $9,421. That's a lot of money, but she's then left with $11,387 each month. So from that $11,387, she is able to take home, that's what's deposited into her bank account each month. She then has to pay everything. She's got to pay for all of her expenses: food, parking, clothing, utilities, phone bills, Netflix, all of those things. She needs to then pay for those out of that remaining $11,387. So let's look at what some of those expenses actually are, but also then what they actually then total to in the end as well. So the biggest expense that she's actually paying out is groceries. So she's actually spending about $1,400 a month on groceries. Now, we're using the figures that don't include her mortgage. We're going to add that in a bit later. But for the moment, let's stay with looking at just her core expenses, not including the mortgage. Every month, she's actually spending $4,670 on expenses. Now you might be thinking, well, hold on, but she's earning a whole lot of money as well. That doesn't sound like very much. Well, that in itself is still 41%. So it's 41% of the amount of money that she takes home. Ironically, it's almost the amount that she's actually paying to the ATO. The ATO is actually getting more of her cash than what she's spending on her expenses. That aside. So then what we look at is, okay, how much does she then have left over? So left over, once we've taken her net income, that's her income after paying tax, and then we take out the amount that she's spending on average every month for expenses, she then has $6,713 left over. Now that sounds like an amazing amount of money to have left over to be able to put into savings. Fantastic. The problem is that now from that $6,713, she's then got to pay her mortgage. Her mortgage repayments every single month are $5,405. Now, for her, this is then taken out of that $6,713, which leaves her then with a savings amount being put aside towards a buffer in case any emergency happens and she needs some extra cash. That leaves her with $1,308 a month. And here's where we look at what is the average and the median amount of money that the average Australian is actually saving. So this particular person falls into the age bracket of 45 to 55. What we can then see from data that came out through Westpac is that the average person has $20,165 sitting in a savings account. Now, for this particular person, for her to actually make sure she's got even that amount of money in a savings account, she will then have to save for 15.4 months. That's a long time. But let's look at it a little bit differently. This is the amount of money that she has left over without doing anything at all. What we can look at is, how do we then change some of these figures, and how is it that wealthier people continue to become wealthier? So while she isn't saving an enormous amount of money every single month, and if her expenses go up, or if there is some kind of emergency, perhaps the hot water service breaks or her car breaks down, she doesn't have an amazing amount of money every single month left over to make any kind of repayment or pay any of those kinds of costs. In fact, the amount that she's actually saving per month is actually just over 11%. It's not very much of her net income as a percentage. And when you convert what your income and your expenses are into percentages, it does make it easier for you to understand how best to budget, and where there's perhaps some fat in your budget to be able to adjust and improve your overall situation. So what we can see here is, for this particular lady, a large portion of her income is, one, going to tax. The other one is actually going to her expenses. So there are two areas where she can look at to be able to improve. If you want to learn more about how people use their money, how it's divided up, then follow along. We've got more videos coming out, and if you want, watch some more of these videos here. Thanks.